Many of us put on masks every day, not just to hide who we really are, but also to protect ourselves from the outside world. We lose a piece of ourselves when we smile, nod, and say yes to things that make us feel bad. Fighting the urge to make everyone happy except ourselves is a quiet battle. However, what if I told you that more than 2,000 years ago, a group of thinkers called the Stoics discovered a strong way to end this cycle? I'm going to talk about how following Stoic principles can change how you see yourself and how you deal with other people today. There's more to this than just saying no. You might find a strength inside you that you forgot you had. If you stick with me as we talk about these timeless lessons, you might find the key to a more real and satisfying life. If you like what we're doing and want to help the station, please do me a simple, free favor and click the subscribe button. Also, watch the whole video with me to get the most out of these life-changing ideas. Now let's begin. To find personal freedom, Stoicism tells us to look inside ourselves and figure out what drives us the most. We often try to please other people because we're afraid of being turned down or hated. Stoics like Epictetus tell us to be honest with ourselves. Why do I always feel like I have to say yes? Is it because I want to be liked or because I'm afraid of being alone? Knowing this can help you take the first step toward real freedom from yourself. This is a great example of what Epictetus famously said, "It's not what happens to you, but how you react to it that matters." When we recognize our fears and wants, we can start to see them not as rules, but as choices. It's easier to control our actions when we understand that our need to please others isn't an order but a choice. This choice is often based on an old story we tell ourselves about how our worth is tied to other people's approval. When did the last time you agreed to do something you didn't want to? What made them make that choice? Were you really committed to the cause, or were you afraid of how people would react if you said no? Stoicism isn't about hiding these feelings, it's about getting to the bottom of them so they don't run our lives. This is the first very important thing we need to do to stop just responding to our surroundings and start shaping them in a way that fits with who we really are. Being inactive is not what Stoicism is about, it's about respecting yourself. Marcus Aurelius told us how important it is to plan how you live. It's not the events themselves that bother people, but their judgments about them, he said. To use this wisdom when setting limits, we need to know that saying no isn't selfish, it's what we need to do to stay honest and at peace. That way you can keep your room, time, and peace of mind safe. If you usually say yes to keep the peace or avoid conflict, this may sound hard. But think about it this way, when you set limits, you're not just keeping people away, you're also inviting them to understand and accept your values. It's about making it clear what you will and will not accept, which makes relationships better and more respectful. Start with a small amount of this. The next time someone asks you to do them a favor, think about whether it fits with your present values and goals. That being said, it's okay to say, "I really can't commit to this right now." You're not refusing the person, you're just being honest about your limits. Keep in mind that setting limits is a constant process. When you stick to your limits, you feel better about yourself, and other people respect you for being clear and consistent. It's not about building walls when you set clear limits, it's about building understanding. You're setting limits for yourself, which lets you connect with others in an honest way. You have to love and respect yourself enough to say, "This is who I am, and this is what I need to stay healthy and happy." It may seem selfish to put yourself first, but it's actually very important. Stoicism teaches us that taking care of ourselves is not a luxury, but a must. Seneca talked a lot about how important it is to focus on oneself in a world that is always pulling us in different directions. He felt that taking care of oneself wasn't just about health, it was also about getting ready to help others more. Think about it this way: you're told to put on your own oxygen mask first, just like in an aeroplane accident. You can't look after other people well if you don't take care of yourself first. Life is the same. You're not living your best life if you're always putting the wants of others ahead of your own. You're just surviving. So, how do you start putting your needs in order of importance? Find out what's really important to you first. What gives you happiness, strength, and calm? Is it being by yourself, reading, exploring nature, or even something as easy as working out every day? No matter what it is, make time for these things. You can be your best self in other parts of your life after spending time with them. Learning to say no to things that drain you is also part of putting your needs first. You have to understand that every time you say yes to something that doesn't fit with your ideals, you're actually turning down something that does. This doesn't mean you don't care about other people. It just means you are choosing to make sure your deeds match your values. Remember that putting your wants first is not selfish. It's about taking charge of your life. Being aware of your values, goals, and limits will help you make choices that are right for you. This doesn't mean you don't care about other people's needs. It means you balance them with your own, which is a big part of being calm. This balance not only helps you stay alive, it makes you grow, which makes you more helpful and caring when you're with other people. Have you ever thought about what's important to you? The idea of Stoicism tells us to stick to our values. If you know what you stand for, you're less likely to give in to peer pressure to please others. This helps you make choices that are in line with who you really are, not just what other people want you to do. Figuring out what you value is like making a picture of your inner world. The Stoics, especially Epictetus, stress how important it is to know yourself very well. He told you that knowing our values is more than just knowing what we like. It's also about knowing what we stand for, what drives us, and what we're willing to fight for, even if it means making things harder. This deep understanding of ourselves is the armor that keeps us safe from the world's stresses. So how do we start this process of finding out? It starts with thinking about yourself. Take some time to think about times when you were truly happy. Why were you there? And of whom were you? What ideals were being upheld at that time? These thoughts can help you see trends in what's really important to you, like being honest, caring, creative, or independent. And knowing what you stand for also helps you be more deliberate about how you use your time and energy. For example, if family is one of your core values, you might decide to put family gatherings first and make choices that make these ties stronger. Or if you get energy from being creative, you might set aside time every week to be creative, no matter how busy your life gets. To live in line with your values, you may have to make tough decisions, like turning down money-making chances that don't fit with your morals. This is where the wisdom of the Stoic really shows. It tells us that the only way to be truly happy is to live a life that is in line with our true nature, not with external accomplishments or praise. Knowing and living by your beliefs shapes what you do and helps you get through the good and bad times in life. It helps you figure out how to handle tough situations and make decisions that may not be the easiest, but will bring you the most happiness. Keep in mind, Seneca said, it's not because things are difficult that we do not dare. It's because we do not dare that they are difficult. Stoics think that actions should be planned. When someone asks for help, it's not only a chance to give it, but also a chance to use calm judgment. Marcus Aurelius talked a lot about how important it was to follow your beliefs instead of your impulses. This is very important when other people ask us to do something. When someone asks you to do something, stop and think about it carefully. Ask yourself if this request fits with what I believe in. Do I think this is something I should put time and effort into? So it'd be good for everyone, or am I just being ripped off? It's not about being negative, it's about being smart and careful with your money. which was something the Stoics valued a lot. Checking out requests helps you stay in charge of your life without any outside pressures. It helps you commit to things that are important to you and will help you grow. This careful examination makes sure that you're not just replying to every request, but also in a way that fits with your core values and goals. Here's a real-life example. A friend needs your help moving over the weekend, but you had planned to use that time to work on a personal project that had been put off for a long time. Stoicism would tell you to think about the request in light of your other obligations. If helping your friend would mean giving up something important to you for no good reason, it might be best to politely say no. This process of making a choice isn't just about saying no. It's also about being aware of your own wants and limits. Evaluating requests isn't about being selfish either, it's about planning ahead. That saying yes to everything isn't good or sustainable. Don't forget that every yes means no to something else. Selectivity makes sure that your yes has more weight and power. That way you save your energy for the things that really count, which makes you better at and more present in the things you do. Stoicism tells us to not only see that we should look at the short-term benefits as well as the long-term effects of our deeds. When someone asks you to do something, take a deep breath and think about it calmly. This careful thought will not only help you live a more honest life, but it will also help you build relationships based on respect and understanding, not just sacrifices from one person to the other. Realize that disagreement is normal and not a bad thing. Stoics see problems as chances to learn and grow. If saying no causes trouble, it's a chance to be strong about what you believe in. So remember that not every fight is worth your time, but dodging all fights could mean giving up what you need. Epictetus told us that what bothers us is not what happens around us, but how we think about it. People usually think of conflict as a bad thing, but Stoicism sees it as a normal part of how people deal with each other, a sign of their different values and points of view. A Stoic view of conflict means that you don't see it as an attack on your person, but as a task that needs to be met with honesty and reason. Stoically dealing with conflict means staying calm and focused on what you can change. You can't change how or what someone else does, but you can change how you respond. When you answer calmly and clearly, you not only protect your honor, but you also make it easier for people to get along in the future. This can turn situations that could be dangerous into chances to learn and grow. Stoicism also makes us think about what we can do to help solve problems. Are we making things more tense? Are we being clear about our wants and limits? There are times when our fear of disagreement or our fear of standing up for standing. Through being brave and honest in these situations that we learn more about ourselves and become stronger. Another thing to keep in mind is that disagreements can be a good or bad sign for our relationships. Most of the time, the most lasting and important ones are the ones that can handle open and respectful disagreements. On the other hand, relationships that fall apart because of strife may not have as much depth as we thought they did at first. Even though this understanding is hard, it is very helpful because it leads to better connections. It can be hard to decide whether to say no to someone, but remember that every no to someone else can be a yes to yourself. Epictetus said, "What bothers us is not what happens to us, but how we see it." Change how you think about saying no. See it as a statement of your values. A very important skill for all Stoics to learn is how to say no. Not being nice or selfish is not the point. The point is to know and respect your own boundaries and priorities. When you say no, you're successfully managing your resources, like your time, energy, and attention, to make sure they are spent on things that are in line with your values and help you grow. But why is it so strong to say no? For starters, it gives you back power over your life. You don't give in to every request or offer. Instead, you pick the ones that are worth your time. This kind of selective involvement is not only useful, but it also feels very freeing. You start to feel less stressed and more focused, which makes it easier for you to do well in the things you want to do. Also, being able to say no can make your bonds stronger. Setting clear limits can seem counterintuitive, but it actually makes things healthier because your needs and wants are respected. By making it clear what people can expect from you, this kind of openness builds trust and respect. People around you will learn that your time and energy are important, which will make them more polite when they ask for things. Of course, it takes time and sometimes a little courage to learn how to say no. It means getting over the fear of letting other people down or facing their disapproval. But this is where being calm is useful. Don't forget that you're forget your past to yourself and your health. Keep this in mind when making choices. If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it. It is right and necessary to say no if agreeing to something makes you feel bad or goes against who you are. It's important to be clear and honest when we say no. Marcus Aurelius said, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." This quote tells us to be honest with ourselves and others when we say no, instead of making up long reasons. You force yourself to face the real reasons behind your choices when you don't make excuses. You have to face the truth about your position and act in the most honest way possible. This method helps you stay true to your strong beliefs and keeps your self-respect and confidence high. When you are honest, people know that the choices you make are well thought out and based on real rules or restrictions, not on whims or short-lived emotions. When you make excuses, you give the other person a chance to question or break down your reasons. This could make the pain and pressure worse. On the other hand, being honest makes it clear that the choices you make are well thought out and supported by fact. This is more likely to be accepted, and it can even make your relationships better by showing that you value honesty and respect each other. Not making excuses also makes your life easier. No longer do you have to be careful about what you say to whom and make up reasons for your decisions. This is very simple, which fits perfectly with the Stoic goal of living a simple, uncomplicated life, where words and actions are in line with inner beliefs. This is a big step toward stopping trying too hard to please other people, which is something that Stoic thought makes clear. Marcus Aurelius said, "You have power over your mind, not over outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. These wise words are especially important when we think about how people tend to want approval and recognition from others. You'll feel a lot lighter once you realize you can't please everyone. You can be more true to yourself and make decisions based on what's best for you instead of how other people might respond. Just think about how freeing and relieved you'll feel when you realize that you can't please everyone. Stop trying to do too many things at once and focus on what's important to you. This acceptance doesn't mean you don't care about other people's wants or feelings. It just means you stop living your life in fear of being judged. Every day we come across people with different ideas and tastes. Not only is it difficult, but it's also very tiring to try to fit them all in. If we can accept this right away, we can start living a life that is true to who we are. Additionally, you become stronger when you accept that not everyone will back or agree with your choices. You start to value the praise of the right people, those who really get you, and are there for you on your journey. This selective thinking isn't about being a snob. It's about making our social relationships more efficient and lasting on an emotional level. Stoicism teaches us to care about our own deeds and thoughts instead of what other people think. Seneca said, "If you really want to escape the things that bother you, what you're needing is not to be in a different place, but to be a different person. To become a different person, you need to build up inner strength that doesn't change based on what other people think." Thanks for going on this trip with me today. Remember that being true to your Stoic beliefs isn't about being perfect. It's about being yourself and finding inner peace. Take a cue from the Stoics and live your life based on your own deepest values, not what other people think of you. If you want to learn more about Stoic wisdom, watch one of the videos that are offered on the screen. Thanks for being a part of the Stoic blog. Check back next time for more, and I'll see you then.